Are your kids really eager to go to that pool party? They're so tired of staying at home. It's another reason we've got Dr. Margaret Sayers with us, a clinical psychologist with advice on how to deal with this time when things are reopening and the kids want to get out of the house.
It's really, really important to sort of zoom out. So for example, if the problem at hand is that your kid wants to go to a pool party at a friend's house, you're definitely not going to agree on whether that's a good idea. If you're a parent who thinks that staying home is better, your kid's going to want to go. But if you can zoom out to a larger problem and agree on what the common goals are, then it becomes much easier to have a conversation. So let me give you an example.
Please.
So the conflict really isn't about can I go to the pool or not. It's actually about a shared goal that all the family members have, which is to keep everybody in the household safe. It's not like your kid can go out and go to the pool party and just be willing to take that risk on him or herself. Whatever he or she is exposed to is coming home. And so if you can talk with your child about not the pool party per se, but about a shared goal of what do we as a family need to do to keep everybody safe. And that doesn't mean that parents are going to say no to absolutely everything, because we're all having to accept slightly more risk as time goes by. But it might mean that you'll say yes to, you can have a couple of friends over to socially distance in the backyard, but you can't go to the pool party where there are 40 kids going to be hanging out, because the 40 kid hangout does not honor the shared goal of keeping everybody in the household safe. Whereas the socially distanced, couple of friends in the backyard could do that. I also want to say that it's super important for parents to listen to their kids and be empathic, because as hard as this is for the adults, this is incredibly hard for teenagers. Teenagers and young adults thrive on social contact.
So how can parents show empathy about this? You make a good point. So is there any language that you can offer?
And I think that there's this old sort of tool that therapists and really good parents use, which is just called empathic listening. And basically the idea is that you listen and you sort of reflect back the main things that your child has said, emphasizing that you've heard the feelings, you've heard the emotions. And then you don't say anything to try to invalidate those feelings, right? You don't say, I understand that you really miss your friends, but your grandmother is 86 years old and she lives with us. Because the but sort of invalidates. What you want to say instead is, I understand that you really miss your friends and your grandmother is 86 years old and it's just not safe for her. Or you just want to say, I understand that you really want to see your friends and that you're really lonely and you're really bored. And I'm so sorry about that. And then stop there, because you can't fix it. There's nothing that you can say that's going to fix it. And we risk invalidating emotions when we add a but also every family has different rules, and teenagers don't like that, but that's something that they just have to learn to tolerate.
So another thing that parents may be dealing with when they tell their kids, no, you can't go to the pool party, is that the kids feel invincible.
It's important to understand that right at the same age that children become capable of understanding the consequences of their actions, that coincides with a time when they feel completely invulnerable. And so we think that they ought to be able to understand the risks and make good decisions, but it's hard for them to do that for the very reason that you just identified. The emphasis can be on, you may not be at very high risk, but you could be exposing people who do have great risk. And so you being invincible doesn't mean you can just go and do what you want, because again, the shared goal is to keep all family members safe.